going on, everybody? So yes, this video and most likely my next video in the next day or two will be the final mock drafts for the LA Chargers I will be doing. Yes, I am going to go through a lot more of a different process next year. Learned a lot of stuff throughout this process, but yes, a lot of these were final ones that I did. Some I kind of redid with players that I may have already selected in the first round, but decided to go different ways later in the draft and thought they ended up turning out better than some I've already talked about the past couple weeks, and got a little bit more excited about these mock drafts. So I had to go through and put these videos together because of that. But with all that being said, yes, of course, this one starts off with a trade because I have the Chargers trading back with the Green Bay Packers. So in this trade scenario, the Chargers will receive the round 1 pick number 22 and round 2 number 53 from Green Bay. The Chargers are sending over round 1, their 17th overall pick, and round number 3, number 79 overall. So yes, we do basically send our top 2 picks, but we only move back a couple spots and are now picking in the second round instead of the third round, which I thought was a lot more enticing. There is another trade to come up in this draft because I saw someone available at the time, but we will get to that when we do. So with this round 1 pick, I have the Chargers selecting cornerback Trent McDuffie out of Washington. Yes, it was even surprising to me that he fell down this far because everybody's even been talking about him high teens and stuff to be drafted. So this scenario may not happen, but if it does and you're able to trade back and get a higher draft pick in the second round, it's definitely a very valuable trade for the Chargers in my opinion. So I like Trent McDuffie going with their first round pick. Round 2, have them picking up one of these really high rising defensive linemen in the process of the draft. Out of UConn, Travis Jones. He's just been a monster. He had some pretty good plays here and there while at UConn, but once he got to the Senior Bowl and was playing against guys who are considered better competition than what he has been, he just destroyed everybody, and you could just tell he was like a man among men, whatever the hell that means. But he was just, you could just tell when guys are just bigger and stronger than other guys who may be bigger or the same size. So he definitely dominated the competition that week and had some nice scores at the combine as well. So he's definitely one of the fast risers, defensive tackle, defensive lineman. So a nice pickup for the Chargers here. And then in round 4, ended up moving up a couple spots, I believe it was. Made this trade with the Giants. So the Chargers are going to get number 112 overall. Then the Giants are receiving our 123rd pick, so we move up about 11 spots. And then I also sent the round 6, number 214 to them to be able to complete this trade. So not a bad overall thing to move up a couple spots to select this player in round 4, going with the offensive tackle out of Penn State, Rasheed Walker, who, once again, that's why I had to make this trade, because for some reason he was available. And I know this guy is definitely going to be picked in the second or third round in the most likely draft coming up this week. But in this mock, had to make it look really nice for you guys and thought this was an awesome pickup. So we shore up the tackle spot that we need, shore up a interior defensive lineman, even get a backup cornerback, one of the more talented ones in the draft that we need in our first 3 picks in the first 4 rounds. Let's see how the rest of this goes. So after Rasheed Walker, round 5, end up going with the running back Pierre Strong Jr. from South Dakota State. I always think it's North Dakota, but yes, one of the more highly talked about guys, especially even Tamel Kiper Jr., the draft guru expert, has him like top 5, top 4 in his running back rankings. So he doesn't expect him to get selected very high, but he still considers him a high overall prospect at the running back position. And I firmly believe he is going to be like that. I've chosen him a lot of times in these mock drafts as well. So round 5, that's where we go. Round 6, have him going with a wide receiver in Reggie Robertson Jr. from SMU. SMU always has a guy for some reason. They're always very talented, and they end up sticking in the league for 10 plus years. And I think this is definitely the guy that it could be. I know a lot of people believe it might be Sonny Gray, who's most likely going 2 or 3 more rounds ahead of this, but I've always thought this guy stood out a bit more in the tape that I saw, because I like Shane Buechele a lot. The past couple years he was there at SMU, and this guy definitely popped out a lot on those tapes. And yes, to get him here in the 6th round is freaking awesome, but he's a little bit of a smaller receiver, so he is most likely playing the slot. He is a pretty fast guy, so I like to pick up a lot. Round 7, have him going with old reliable defensive end I usually pick in Christopher Allen from Alabama. You already know how I feel about him. Size overall to get late in this draft is what you kind of look for, more of as a projection instead of what a guy is going to be. So this is the project that the Chargers coaches will have. Round 7, have them going with finally another offensive lineman, Josh Seltzner from Wisconsin. You already know how I've talked about Wisconsin linemen. They'll most likely be really great in your rushing game attack. You just got to teach them a little bit more how to pass protect, and to get this guy in the 7th round is pretty crazy. So yes, why not go with a Wisconsin offensive lineman, or the round 7 pick? Have him going with the linebacker Chance Campbell from Ole Miss. He was just one of the more consistent defensive players for them. Ole Miss kind of surprised a little bit this year. They were in a lot of big games, but he always jumped out on the video you saw. He was always one of the better, higher total tackle numbers for that Ole Miss defense. So most likely a special teams guy, really backup linebacker, but really good guy to add to your special teams, in my opinion. Round 7, have them finally going with the tight end Peyton Hendershot from Indiana. He's more of like an offensive type of guy. I know Indiana runs the ball quite a bit, but I don't know how great of a running or a run blocking type of tight end he is. But offensively, I think he can help out a lot. He's gonna just mix in with the tight ends. Probably not fast enough to play special teams, but we'll see what depth he can provide at the tight end spot for the Chargers. So that's how I think this traded mock draft, with the Green Bay Packers and the Chargers selecting Trent McDuffie with the 1st round pick here. So very interesting, very cool how this one played out, especially making a couple trades in there that I usually don't, but with the talent that was available on the board, kind of had to. So let's move on to the next one, where we have the Chargers making another trade. Yes, once again, ended up making this trade with Green Bay. For some reason, it worked out always. And it kind of seems possible that this might happen because they want one of the better receivers out there in the draft for Aaron Rodgers, maybe. So you could get one of those 2 1st round picks that they have. But with this trade, I had the Chargers getting number 28 this time instead from Green Bay, and the 2nd round pick, 59. Then the Packers are getting our 17th 1st round pick, and I also threw in a round 7, number 260. Even though it was going to accept the trade either way, I still wanted it to make it look a little bit fair and even, so I added that 7th round pick. That is just our very last pick of the draft. So with this, round 1, we went with another cornerback, but this time it was the guy out of Florida, Kaiir Elam, who is considered like a top 3, definitely top 5 of the cornerbacks in this year's draft. Get him this late in the draft is a little bit surprising. Probably would go a little bit higher like McDuffie, but overall you kind of just make this trade back and take the next best available player, which is what he was. So I definitely like this pickup for the Chargers in the 1st round. Once again, going with another cornerback. Round 2, have him going with an offensive tackle, and Nicholas Petit Ferrer. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He is out of Ohio State, one of the more talented offensive linemen they've had coming out recently, and he made it all the way to the 2nd round. So once again, I had to shore up that tackle spot and one of the needs a little bit in the cornerback spot for the Chargers in their first 2 picks. So definitely happy about this. Round 3, ended up going with Leo Chanel from Wisconsin, the linebacker. Yes, he's past couple years been one of their more consistent tacklers, and highest total tackling on the team for Wisconsin. He could probably play special teams his first couple years, but I definitely see him as a good overall linebacker, starting linebacker for you in the future, hopefully. Round 4, have him going with the defensive tackle out of LSU, Neil Farrell Jr. So obviously they need a defensive tackle, nose tackle. That's what they're looking for. It's not bad to add talent, especially from the SEC and including LSU on the defensive line. So hopefully this guy, he should be gone by now, but to get him in the 4th round is a good value pick. So I like that a lot. Round 5, have him finally going with the tight end and Jalen Weidermeyer from Texas A&M. Once again, a guy in most of these mock drafts was selected at least prior or even around the 3rd round, but for some reason he was available here in the 5th, and he's obviously one of the more talented offensive ones. He can almost play a wide receiver for you, especially on the outside, but you know, you do have to learn how to block out there in Texas A&M because they run the ball a lot. So this is a really good, awesome pick for the Chargers in round 5. Round 6, have them going with the running back out of Michigan, Hassan Haskins. Just the more tape and video out on YouTube I watched this guy of the highlights, it just shows that he is definitely an NFL ready type of running back. Could definitely back up Austin Eckler day 1 and have a pretty good career, maybe as a starter one day. You never know. Round 6, have him going with the safety out of UCLA in Quentin Lake. He's one of the more talented, versatile defensive players come out of UCLA recently, and I know a couple years ago they missed out on Darnay Holmes, who I kind of liked a little bit more for the Chargers, but this guy has the size and speed and versatility that Brandon Staley will like in a defensive back. Probably could play multiple positions, add a little bit more weight, to play maybe a little bit of a linebacker for you as well. So it's a pretty interesting pick in round 6. Round 7, have him going with, once again, a wide receiver pick. Last time, Reggie Roberson Jr. For some reason, earlier mock drafts, he was never available this late, but now he is, and I'm going to take him every single time because I think he's one of the more talented receivers out there. A lot of guys are a little bit overrated than him, but I think to get him this late is all but gravy for the Chargers. And then round 7, have him going with a defensive end out of Arkansas, Trey Williams. Once again, just going by projection, hoping that this guy pans out, playing obviously for Arkansas in the SEC, so saw a lot of talent. Should be very athletic and a big dude, and he looks like he's a little bit more in shape defensive end, so you don't have to do much with that, just work on technique most likely. So see how that goes. And the last pick of this mock draft for Kaiir Elam, have been going with the interior offensive lineman Tyrese Robinson from Oklahoma. Obviously Oklahoma has been pretty solid with their offensive linemen, but if he's getting picked this late, most likely a project type of offensive lineman. But to add talent from one of the bigger schools, as I always mention, instead of these Division 2 or 3 places, is a lot better than, you know, the longer type of project we're getting out of Trey Pipkins, who's still not even going to start, even though he was a 3rd round pick a few years back. So yeah, that's how I see these 2 cornerback mock drafts going. This one with Kaiir Elam, the last one Trent McDuffie, both with trades, whether they're trading down a little bit or a lot more in that 1st round, still getting a 2nd round pick, which I think is where the Chargers need to get back into, is the 2nd round. 3rd round is nice, but they can make up and get back in there if they just move back a couple spots, in my opinion. So hoping Tom Telesco's listening, looks to do this strategy, and we'll see how this goes. And yeah, the NFL draft is this Thursday around 5 p.m. Definitely looking forward to it. And yes, let's hope the Chargers make a great 1st round or maybe 2 1st round picks. You never know. So yes, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.